Hello, today I want to talk about offshore fishing and the seasons and what you can expect to catch, kind of when, where you would expect to catch these fish. Like dolphin, wahoo, tuna, mahi, billfish, grouper snapper. I kind of want to start with going over like we start in the wintertime. And here in the wintertime, it can be pretty cold or really nice, but the water temperatures drop heavily inshore of the Gulf Stream, so you really need to get out further towards the ledge, like 180 feet, 160 feet, that kind of area with a lot of rocky bottom. We start kind of fishing. Wintertime, I would say, is more for bottom fishing, and you could start wahoo fishing. High-speed trolling can be good for wahoo. They tend to find those water temperatures, if you can find the edge of it there, the 70s, low 70s, even high 60s. And if you're bottom fishing, wintertime can be a great time to bottom fish. Sometimes really close in, you only get like sea bass and a few other things. But as you move on further out past 90 feet, 100 feet of water to 200 feet, you find the groupers and snappers. That time of year we don't get to keep some of the groupers, but they are fun to catch. But there's a lot of other fish, the snappers, pink snappers, vermilions, black sea bass can be very good at that time. A lot of good fishing for those guys. You can find some king mackerel in the wintertime close to the ledge out there. As the wintertime, I do prefer the trolling when it comes, it's pretty much wahoo fishing. You can catch just about every Gulf Stream species during the wintertime. I've caught everything except a billfish, and I know people have caught billfish in January. I've caught dolphin in January, I've caught wahoo, I've caught tunas, king mackerel. So it just depends on what the water temperature is and what the fish are like out there. So you still have opportunities, but as you go along in the spring is really when I would probably target wahoo, tuna, and dolphin. They start really moving in when the water starts warming up in the low 70s. Usually March is early, then April it really starts to kick off when the water starts warming up. And trolling is probably the best time of year in starting in April, particularly just like bait trolling, like ballyhoo and that kind of stuff. You're mainly going to be seeing a lot of wahoo, blackfin tunas. We're now seeing more occasional yellowfins, and that's a good time of year to catch yellowfins particularly. The dolphins start to move in, and it's funny, one week won't be a single one there, then all of a sudden they're here, like at the beginning of April. I have caught white marlin that time of year, usually out pretty deep. You're generally going to fish a little deeper because the warmer water is usually out past the reef, somewhere between 300 to 600 feet. Sometimes you got to run to 1,200 feet of water, 55 miles or so out. What I frequently do is I'd run till I found the warm water or found weed lines or cleaner water. You want to get out of the green water or maybe get into blue water or find that edge. Temperature breaks are very important that time of year. That's going to hold a lot of bait and a lot of fish. Nowadays we have a lot of technology to find the temperature breaks already by satellite. It's great to go over those things, and there are a lot of websites you can find it for free. There are some really good pay websites that really help you to pinpoint exact GPS locations of this kind of stuff, so you can really have not waste your time and run straight to the fish. But temperature is very important. You want to see those big temperature breaks. You'll see like from 65 to 72. There's going to be fish on things like that. And if they coincide with the structure of the ledge, you're really going to have good fishing generally. You're going to start to see some weed lines start showing up that time of year, but generally they're going to be deeper too because that's where the breaks are going to be. And as we move into May and June, the fishing really heats up. The dolphin fishing, the mahis that's when they really run for us. We have a huge run till about mid-June, and it's very easy to just troll for them and find them. And when you do, you kind of stay in the area and find those fish. And you should have plenty of bites. Everybody usually catches them then. It's usually a really good run. Of course, we have all the other stuff too. Generally, the water warms up a little further inshore, so inside the ledge you could even catch fish too. You start in that May and June. There's a lot of billfish just begin to show up. A lot of blue marlin start getting to be caught around May, and particularly in June. We're still catching a lot of blackfin tunas. As it warms up, we go into June. You'll start seeing less of those guys, not quite as many of the big schools. They tend to like a little cooler water, although you can catch them year-round. And as the summer progresses and it gets hot, you're going to find that the dolphin are going to move further north. You're not going to see as many of them for trolling, and the billfish tend to heat up. A lot of blue marlin, a lot of sailfish. They like that warm water. You even catch them in closer, but usually anywhere between the 300 and plus to 1,200 feet is pretty common to catch the billfish. And a lot of people like to target them with dredges and things like that time of year, bait and switch, trolling. I tend to start bringing live bait out there, and that can keep you real busy that time of year out there when everything slows down trolling. A lot of menhaden and mullet. You can be real busy near the ledge with king mackerel, barracudas, dolphin. A lot of times we'll run out to the weed lines if we find weed lines, and we'll run along till I see some birds work, and then I'll put out a couple live baits. And usually if they're around, they will come straight to you, and you catch all the dolphin you want. They'll stay around as long as you got that live bait. They really like that stuff. And it's a lot of fun using lighter tackle, catch them versus trolling. And as we move through that part of the summer, that's what I tend to do to move to the live bait. Late summer to midsummer, bottom fishing is really good out in the deeper water. As the water warms up, they tend to move a little deeper. You're sitting in the shallower water, 90 to 100 feet. The bigger fish tend to move out a little bit of the grouper because they don't like that super hot water as further inshore. So there's a lot of good fishing on the deep ledge. We're catching a lot of African pompanos this time of year in the summertime. Midsummer, particularly the grouper, snapper. We're catching mutton snapper, we haven't seen a lot of those. Seeing some mangrove snappers, yellowtails, some of the tropical species that we normally don't see up here, which is really nice. We're catching a lot of that. So the bottom fishing definitely heats up mid-summertime as the trolling slows down. I always like to bring live bait with me too doing that. There's a lot of good advantages for that on the bottom. A lot of amberjacks, but you can also get a lot of nice big groupers with that. And also a lot of fish will come up to you. Maybe a dolphin will swim up to you and you got a live bait, and they will definitely eat that while you're anchored up. Drift fishing is good with jigs too that time of year. We jig off the bottom, particularly like the Colt Sniper jigs or the flat fall jigs that Shimano makes. You get a little heavier ones, maybe like 65 grams to 100 grams, works really good on a good jigging rod. As we start moving into the fall, we start getting into my favorite fishing time of year. The ocean just comes alive, the water cools off, but the bait's everywhere, the fish move in closer. Particularly king mackerel is excellent. We start seeing some cobias even out there. We see a second run of dolphin. I usually see them sometime August through October. You'll find they're smaller fish, but you'll find a lot of smaller schools of those fish that the birds will be working. A lot of times you'll find the weed lines in close, log, whatever. Always be on the lookout for those schooling fish. There tends to be a ton more bait with a lot of birds on them. You start seeing the blackfin tuna again. The sailfish really heat up in the fall. A lot of people love fishing around the late October, November time with dredges, trying to bait and switch, circle hook fishing for the sailfish. And you can rack up some big numbers this time of year. So that can be a lot of fun. There's always something to do during all of our seasons. You just kind of got to cater to it. And as you come into the wintertime, again, I would say fishing's good up until Christmas. Again, then we start having our winter patterns again. So go out there and try. Every time of year, just try to cater to that time of year for what you're trying to catch.